Hi everyone, and welcome to the show. This is your host and your coach, Dr. Mary, and today we're going to be looking at a topic that about resistance, this idea of being resistant. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what resistant means, but there's a reason I'm talking about it, because it comes up with almost everybody that I've ever worked with in my own life and in the lives of others that I've been coaching. And I'm talking about, it doesn't matter if you're just starting out or something, or you find that you are very far along the journey. You've really accomplished some really great things. You've got your website up, you've got your business, you have your career, maybe you've launched a few things, and resistance will come up and knock your knees out from you, no matter where you are in the cycle of growth. And there's a reason for this. There's a reason for resistance, and I want to try and normalize it for you today, that resistance is just a natural stage of the growth cycle. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just, what do we do with it when we get it? That's what we want to know. It can be very overwhelming, a little scary, and I'll talk more about that, by why that is, but it's going to come up as part of any change. And I want to normalize that for you so that when it comes up, you can say to yourself, oh, Mary talked about this. I recognize this is right now. I must be in a particular part of this change growth cycle. It's part of transition. So in a human development standpoint, we would say, well, we see resistance or pushback. It's several places in human development. One of them that we're all really aware of is, that 2-year-old, that 3-year-old, they go into a stage of saying, no, I don't want to. Wanting to have their own mind. And then we see it again at adolescence. Not that we don't see it in between. I'm just saying that these are some markers, times for us to in our lives when we are more apt to push back a little bit, saying, I want to be heard. I want my preferences to be acknowledged and validated. And what we find is that if we're willing to validate the resistance, if we're willing to take the time to listen to what is being said there, what's the purpose of that resistance, then oftentimes we move right through it. So this is not about how do I get rid of resistance. You can't get rid of resistance. You can listen to resistance. You can disarm resistance. And how we do that is by listening to it. And when we're listening to it, we bring that right into our tapping so that our whole body feels that sense of being heard and understood, because that's what we really want as individuals, as human beings. We want to be heard. So whether you're needing to hear somebody else and through communication, we need to do the same to ourselves to honor that. So let me talk about a couple of ways that resistance will show up. And sometimes resistance, when it comes up, when we feel it, we say that we want to do something, but we can't get ourselves to do it. So some other terms that people might use for resistance is procrastination. Sometimes we'll say that they are sabotaging themselves. But we're going to put a different name on resistance so that when we experience it, we can listen differently, listen better. So if resistance is really about a form of protection, think about it in this way. Resistance is a form of protection. So procrastination is a form of protection. Self-sabotage is a form of protection. It's maybe a message to us that I'm not quite ready. It can be a message that I'm getting ready. It can be the message that I'm scared to go forward. Please don't push me. It can be, so it has that little tone of voice like, please, I don't want to do it. Don't make me do it. Or it can also be the voice of, hell no, I'm not going to do it. You can't make me do it. I don't care what you say. I am not going to do it. Now, I think it's important to differentiate between those different voices, between the fearful voice that says, please, please, please don't make me do it, and the more resistant, I'm going to be in your face, I'm going to fight you back. You can't make me. Don't think you're going to bully me into it, man. I'm going to dig my heels in and I'm not going to do it. The reason is because they really do, while they're both part of the fight or flight process, they both have a different way I might go in and tap on them. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But when we think about this need to protect ourselves and get beneath this resistant behavior, we have to listen to it. And sometimes for people, it scares them. Resistance scares them because they're afraid that they're never going to be able to get past that. They're not going to be able to do the thing that they really want to do, that they're just not going to be able to be strong enough to break through this old pattern. But what I'm going to tell you is when you are willing to allow yourself to listen to it, and listen to it as long as you need to, meaning as long as it's there, and pay homage, honor it by listening well, really speaking to what it is saying no to. No, I don't want to. And getting underneath it by asking those questions of, well, what would be the downside of making this change? What is the downside of growing even bigger, of putting myself out there? You're going to find some fears that come up, and when they do, that part of you that's feeling resistant, that's saying no, 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 is going to feel heard. Not because you just listened to the resistance, but you got so comfortable with it and were so compassionate to it that you saw what was underneath it. You saw what it was trying to protect. Then you can address those fears directly, and you'll find that the resistance just melts away. So let's get into what is it I mean when I say that we want to go into the resistance. We want to lean into it. I love that term. I just think it's so, it just so describes what the experience of any kind of thing that we're tapping on really is that we're leaning into it, whether it's sadness, whether it's guilt, whether it's embarrassment, whether it's pain, whether it's fear. We're leaning into it. We want to be able to say, I see you, I recognize you, I validate you, I don't have to push you down anymore. I'm going to give you space to have a voice. And in doing so, we befriend ourselves, all of us, all the parts of us. We befriend it, we honor it, we feel valued. We teach ourselves that we are worth listening to and that it's okay to have a voice. And so that's what we want to do with this resistance. So I want you to think about something that you feel resistant to, right? It could be anything. It could be networking. It could be dieting. It could be exercise. It could be putting yourself on Match.com. It could be starting or doing something in your business. I want you to identify where your no is. Where do you feel that pushback, that absolute line in the sand? Okay? Find that where that is in your life. And then ask yourself, which variety of resistance are you feeling? Okay, are you feeling a no, there's no way, you're not going to make me, get out of my face kind of resistance? Or are you feeling a I can't, it's more of a fear-based, ooh, I can't do that, I can't do that, I can't do that, please don't make me do it. Right? I want you to be able to feel that, because both of them, you may feel them at different times, but just for the tapping, I want you to identify the way you're feeling it. And then, of course, we're always saying, where do I feel it in my body? When I feel this resistance, where do I feel it in my body? Give it a number, 0 to 10. That's always important because we want to be able to understand if we are really in the right target. And that's that feedback system that we get by giving it a number, identifying it so that after we tap on it, we can go back and test it. We can evaluate whether or not, what did it do? Did my body relax a little bit? Did my numbers come down? Did they go up? Okay, did it get more intense? What happened during that tapping round? Because as long as something is happening, we are in the right target. We're in the right pocket in our work. And so that's what we're looking for. All right, so you've identified what you're resistant, where your resistance is. You've identified whether it is a fight or a flight kind of resistance. You know where it is in your body. You've given it a number. And now we're going to do some tapping. So on the karate chop, just follow me, okay? Even though I feel this resistance, I really don't want to do this thing. I hear it loud and clear. My body is telling me, definitely, we are not doing this. And that's okay. I'm letting my body know that I'm listening now. I want to hear your concerns. I hear your fear. I hear your resistance. I acknowledge those feelings, and I accept all of me right now. Even though I don't want to do it, I feel my whole body say no. I'm listening, body. I hear your big no. I validate that feeling. Even though my body is saying no big time, I refuse to do this. You can't make me. I'm not going to change my mind. I'm choosing to know that if I stop and listen in a respectful manner, and I get curious, I'll understand that this is resistance, is just trying to protect me. And I'm going to honor the intention of this resistance. And I'm going to be open to a new pattern of communication with myself and my concerns. And at the eyebrow, I am really feeling this resistance. I feel it right there in the body. Underneath the eye, it's a definite no. Underneath the nose, I can feel the no. On the chin, it's a no way. Collarbone, it's not happening. Underneath the arm, I can't do it. Top of the head, I don't even want to go there. Back at the eyebrow, I just can't. Side of the eye, my body is telling me something. Underneath the eye, I hear its fear. Under the nose, I hear its concern. On the chin, what if I stop to listen? Collarbone, what am I afraid of? Under the arm, if I didn't have this resistance, what is the feeling I don't want to have? Top of the head, what am I protecting myself from right now? Back at the eyebrow, I'm letting my body know that I hear it. Side of that eye, I'm letting my resistance know that I'm listening. Under the eye, what do you have to tell me, resistance? Under the nose, what is scary? On the chin, what is the fear? Collarbone, I'm validating your need to protect me. Under the arm, let's talk. Top of the head, tell me your concerns. At the eyebrow, I'm listening. Side of the eye, I'll be open. Under the eye, I'll find a way for us to feel safe. Under the nose, it's safe for us to have this discussion. On the chin, it's safe for me to acknowledge my concerns. on the collarbone, because now we can be strong together. Under the arm, I have new tools and resources. Top of the head, we can be safe now. Back at the eyebrow, it's safe for me to acknowledge this resistance. Side of the eye, knowing that I'm trying to protect myself. Under the eye, and it's safe now for me to understand this fear. Underneath the nose, to look at it with compassion. On the chin, to be gentle with myself. Collarbone, to find new resources, to feel calm and assured. Under the arm, I'm so glad I stopped to listen to you, resistance. Top of the head, thank you, resistance, for letting me know. And take a breath. Now think about that thing that you felt resistant about. Feel it in your body. Measure it again. Notice that we did not say, okay, I'm only going to work on this because I got to get there and take that action. If you're coming from that kind of energy, you're going to feel it. It's that feeling of I'm going to drag you forward no matter what. I'm going to trick you. I think I'm going to listen to you. But when you can really come from that place of, all right, I understand that there's something getting in the way, and I'm going to take just a little bit to ask you, what is it? What is it about doing that thing that scares you? Write it down. Look at it. You're being honest with yourself. You're listening to yourself. You know, there are so many other times in your life that nobody stopped to listen to you. If you don't do it with yourself, how will yourself ever trust yourself? I know that sounded like a mouthful of things, but it really is about us learning to trust ourselves. And we won't do that if we can't honor our own voice and look at what is my fear. What is the fear I have of getting, on match? What is the fear I have about exercise? What is the fear I have about getting myself out there, my business going? If I look at the fear and I tap on those fears, I'll find that my resistance changes its tone. Its voice will shift. And it may, together, we open ourselves up. When we develop a relationship of camaraderie, that we're in this together, I'm going to listen to you and I'm going to explore new ways of approaching these problems. I'm going to look at those old events where I was afraid and had that traumatic experience, that I can deal with that now, that I have new tools to do that. We're not going to drag ourselves. We're not doing the feel the fear, do it anyway type of event. Trust builds. Trust in yourself. Trust in your willingness to look at these obstacles, these fears that are out there, and you'll find that your resistance just doesn't have to get so loud. So we respect resistance. We hold it, knowing it's got a message. And then we work on what the message is, right? That's how we use our resistance to be able to take us forward. It's not something to fight against, drag kicking and screaming forward. It's ours to be able to join with it and look at the fears and conquer them. Guys, I know that the desire to grow, to expand is so forward. It's so up in your vibration. It's something that you want to do, and you're doing it. Quite frankly, every time you listen to one of the shows, every time you do tapping, every time you're honest with yourself, you're doing it. You are peeling it away. You are taking a huge step in your favor. All right? So let me know. I love knowing how these tappings, the shows have been really, really helpful for you. And I want you to know that everything that I do in these shows is also part of my coaching program called Moving from Fear into Action, when you're really ready to say yes. And it's a very comprehensive 6-month coaching package. It's a one-on-one program. It's very intimate. We work a lot of self-coaching, but we really go deep into these topics around resistance and being seen, and I really help you uncover the fears that are keeping you from moving and taking those steps. And as we work together to release these old fears, we're also working together to offer new beliefs, strengthening those beliefs, creating that new identity around who will you be as you grow. So we're releasing the resistance to that because we're addressing the fears that go along with that and where those were in your life so that you can be the person that you want to be. All right, this is your coach, Mary Ayers. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. You can reach me at mary@tapintooaction.com. All the old radio shows are on my website at tapintooaction.com/blog. So you can download them, you can keep them, you can tap along with them anytime you want. I love hearing from you, and if you think that you are ready to say yes and you want to do some one-on-one coaching, just send me an email, mary@tapintooaction.com. We'll set up a time to talk, and we'll find out how I can be helpful to you. So until next time, stay brilliant.